always wonder why Jesus put a little child there at the side and say, unless you become like a little child, you will not be great. What was the situation at the time when Jesus when he started his public ministry? How were the children treated at that time? Well, the children had not much of rights in public. The children were considered not important at all. They were only supposed to be children who were supposed to grow in strength and in the favor of God. Therefore, we find Jesus also, when Mary and Joseph takes Jesus to Nazareth, he grew in wisdom and knowledge, and the favor of the Lord was upon him. Now, what is this grew in wisdom? These little children, all that they have to do is to go and learn. Where would they learn? They had their instructions in the synagogue, and they would learn. That is all that they have to do. They were not given much rights. The children were also abused. The children were also sometimes treated very badly. As we see even today, the children being abused, little children misused, and we know the child labor, how it is still prevalent everywhere in the world, and how children are also being trafficking, and how children, those deserted little children, infants, are being sold to different countries in adoption. The child suffers all this. Till they are major, they can do anything when they are major. So, till they attain their majority, they have to be in this suffering. Therefore, Jesus takes up this part of a little child and says, you have to be like a little child. In other words, as a disciple, you will have to learn, grow in wisdom and knowledge, and the favor of the Lord should be upon you, and you will be abused, you will be rejected. Still, you have to continue to do the works in His kingdom. And therefore, you see, Jesus puts that little child to show that the discipleship of all these apostles would be like a little child. And what remains in our life, the most important stage of our life is childhood. And therefore, what remains all through our life is the childhood days. We don't speak about our adult days. We don't speak about our maybe college days. We always speak about our childhood days. And therefore, Jesus takes up this part of a child, that little child is always there as you grow in your life. That little child is still inside you. Therefore, sometimes you behave like a little child. Why are you childish? Some people say, why are you childish? What are the childish ways? The childish ways is one is crying, stubborn, jealous, proud, and carrying tales, blaming. These are the childhood behavior pattern. Does this die in us? Even now we have that jealousy, pride, anger, talking, carrying tales, maybe mocking. All this is still there in us. And therefore Jesus puts this little child to show that this childhood days will not die in our life. And therefore he says, you should be like a little child. Whoever receives this child in my name receives me. So whoever receives me as a disciple of Christ receives him, and him who sent me. For he who is least among you will be great. The last part, John is inquisitive. John the apostle, the beloved apostle. He is inquisitive. He says, well, listen, somebody else is doing something, some ministry they are doing. And if they are doing ministry in the name of Christ, then they are for us, is what Jesus says. And you and I should also acknowledge that not only Catholics have empowered the world, they are the Christians also who have empowered the world. All that we should know is that they should not be against Christ. They should be for Christ. And what we have received freely, we should give freely. And then they will be always for Christ, and we will also be always for Christ.